Here we go. And we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by James Balsamo of Acid Bath Productions. To talk about his new film, It Wants Blood. Sweet. I was very excited to see this. There's, first of all, great effects. And this is one of my favorites. It reminds me of, I forget, Insectoids, I think they were called.
Uh-huh.
The action figures when I was
Yeah.
a wee lad.
Yeah, those are cool.
There was also in Snake Mountain, I believe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Now, and when I say this, I don't want this as a knock on your previous films.
No.
But definite improvement on the look of the movie, the sound. It's just a higher, a bit more quality, I think.
Yeah, well, we shot it on 8K. It's a red camera, so most things are 4K. I wanted cinema quality, so I started making this movie before COVID and all that stuff happened. So I really wanted to do a limited theatrical release with It Wants Blood, and now we're looking into drive-ins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's why we shot it on 8K, because we were going to the movies.
Exactly. Was that any difference when you're actually filming it?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, the cards fill up faster because it's a whole big memory thing, and then you got to change the card a little quicker. But other than that, nothing besides the cameraman holding this heavy camera. I mean, I shot a lot of movies on a DSLR like this, you know what I mean? Which is,
you shot me on that.
I did. It hurts your wrists a little bit. I risked it all to make these movies, but this one, that red 8K camera is huge. It needs a shoulder rig, and so. But I wasn't the director of photography on this, so I didn't mind. I just got the point. You do that.
Is that new for you, or do you normally have a different DP?
It depends on the film. Most of my films, I've been the director of photography, so I got an eye for it. So it's nice to be like, no, I want this. And I mean, with this movie, we had monitors. I'm not one of those sitting kind of directors. I'm always like up close and personal. So I still, was doing my fair share of moving. And there was a moment or two where I was like, okay, just give me the camera because I want to touch it. I can't help it. Just let me shoot this real quick. You know what I mean? So, but more or less, I pointed for this movie.
Mm-hmm. That's what a director does. They point.
Yeah, they do. That's what I say. People say, "Hey, I want to be a director. How do I do it?" I start doing this. Hey, you move that thing over there.
That's what you learned in film school.
I did. They're like, okay, all right, raise your hand. Now point. That's it. You're a director now. Here's your diploma. That'll be $30,000 billion. Yeah. Welcome to film school.
All right. So you mentioned the drive-in. So what is the release schedule for It Wants Blood? How is it going to be released?
So right now it's on Vimeo. You could go to Vimeo and type in It Wants Blood and watch it right now. And you could watch a VHS version of it also. It's got the tracking llines, but it's the same film, but it just gives you that VHS je ne sais quoi, as the French say. But it'll be on DVD in Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble this summer. So, and Blu-ray. My first Blu-ray.
Nice.
It's shot on 8K, so I figured, why not? Let's go blue.
Yeah, that's
exciting.
I've heard that before. I don't know.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Is there any plans for the drive-in? Because actually, it is kind of a drive-in movie.
It is totally a drive-in movie. It's a classic creature feature, and how amazing it came out right at the tail end of Kong versus Godzilla, because there are two titans of their own in It Wants Blood that fight. So
that fight is very fun. I'm a big stop motion fan, Harryhausen fan, and
Richard Svensson is also known as the Lone Animator, is an amazing stop animator from Sweden, and he did the whole sequence as well as some of my other films. So he's great.
How did you meet him?
Great. You know what? I scoured the internet for a while to find a stop animator because I love Harryhausen and, great stop motion throughout cinema. And, Phil Tippett, who did RoboCop and Star Wars. And so I really wanted somebody that could do something like that. And I searched for a while. And then I came across Richard, and, he's incredible. And we really see eye to eye. I'll tell you a crazy story. He did It Wants Blood, and so I started doing this other movie, Alien Danger, with Raven Van Slender, which has Rob Halford in it and Tommy Chong. But I wrote a treatment for it with all these weird aliens. I kid you not. He had some of the aliens already made that I wrote the description of in the treatment. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was like it was meant to be. And a lot of the times I talk to Richard, we're always on the same page. I'm like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do a creature with something, small with spikes. He's like, hold on. He's already got it done. He's like, because he makes his own films. He's like, I made this thing. And I'm like, that is what I thought of. How did you already make it?
That's pretty wild. I saw pictures of you. Are you doing some sculpting yourself?
I do. I've been sculpting since I was a kid. When I was in middle school, my mom got me business cards. It was called Custom Clay Creations, and I would sculpt things for my friends for money because I like money. So yeah. I started sculpting at a young age, and I've been sculpting ever since. I really wanted to go to the Tom Savini School. I've been doing a lot of my own effects for years, but finding Joe, I'm like, point. That's my new thing. I just point. I say, I want this. You do that. And they go, okay, do you have money? And I go, you know what? I had a business since I was 13. Now I have some money. Here you go. You could have this so I can point.
It's a good thing you saved all that money from sculpting in middle school.
I know. I'm telling you, a penny goes a long way in your savings account.
You mentioned Joe. I believe that was Joe Castro.
Joe Castro was incredible. He did most of the effects. He did the two creature heads. Hunter Jackson from Guar built the body for Bird Creature, the Zoalzo. And I sculpted the hands for that. And then Quincy Crosby sewed the feathers on with Aaron Tatro. And who else am I leaving out? Oh, I made the life cast of the decapitated head, and April Garcia painted it. And I think that's everybody that did effects work on the picture.
Yeah. How long does that take?
Bill Victor Arukin, who also plays Bruno Bastien, made some of the blood. I know he was
very good. The blood is very good in the movie.
Yeah.
How long does it take to do all that, to do each of those things?
It depends. Joe is amazing. He works really fast. I mean, when he's inspired, you know what I mean? So Alaric Barca and I came up with the concept of the creature for the Nadoto, the elephant with the bat wings. And so then Richard did a miniature for the stop motion. And then Joe saw the miniature and the concept art and was like, oh, I have an idea for the head. And so he wanted to make like a even scarier head. And so he really finished it probably in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Was there any basis like in Legend to the monsters?
I do like Legend. No, it wasn't a real inspiration. I got like a weird sense to look up elephant monsters. So I found a real cryptic zoology monster called the Grootslang, which is based on an African legend where a snake and an elephant are combined. And so there's been some artwork concept, but nothing that looked like our final creature. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some it looked more like a snake, and then some it looked more like an elephant, but ours was just the right mix.
So where did that come from? Like, where did you get, like, why did you think, like, man, I think an elephant and a snake would be cool?
So I'll tell you a funny story. My mom really wanted a real elephant when I was doing Catch of the Day.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a pet or something when you were a kid.
Right. She wanted me to ride in on a real elephant. And I said, where am I going to get an elephant from? That's not going to be cheap, and animal safety, and I want to keep the animal safe, and
Mhm.
it's such like a hard thing. So having an elephant was kind of always in my head, you know what I mean? Besides getting drunk and having a Dumbo moment, which there is a beautiful homage to that in this movie.
Mhm. Yeah,
Even
there's
the
also
song is a sound alike.
mhm. There's also nice animation. Is that the same animator who did some animation before for other films?
For almost all of my films, Rob Yulfo, who I believe works on the Late Show now. He
Oh
just
wow.
got hired to do the Late Show. So yeah, Rob Yulfo is incredible. He's been doing animation for some of my films for a while, years.
How did you meet him?
Um, a friend of mine through Trauma. So he did animation on Zach Amico's one of Zach Amico's films, and so I'm one of those crazy people that read credits. I know most people
I
walk
like
out of
credits.
movie
Yeah.
theaters. I know that's a rarity. It
Uh-huh.
blows my mind. Back when the world was open, people, oh, credits are up. I'm out of here. I'm like, that's who did this for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at those names. So I read Rob's name and I found his work and I said, hey, I'm doing a movie. You want to animate something for it? And he was like, yeah, okay, that sounds weird. And then we've been working together ever since. He's great.
Nice. On a little tangent about the credits, like almost all the streaming sites now, even regular TV, either they'll just cut away or they'll scroll through them so incredibly fast, like there's no way you could even watch them.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like going to a theater performance and then people start to bow and they just leave, which some
Yeah.
people do. I've seen that happen on
Yeah.
Broadway. They're like, oh, thank you. Oh, we got to go, honey. We got to beat the crowd.
Yeah.
Let's not give credit to these fine actors and entertainers. Like,
You would think it would be get some kind of rule anyway, like on TV to because I've seen it where they just do it so fast, like it's like in 2 seconds, and there
it's
would be
unbelievable.
no way you could possibly watch it, even if you had to.
Society just like, I don't care. Oh, you made this, that's good for you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But that's how I found Rob. I read the credits and I was like, oh, I like that animation. Who did it? Oh, that guy. I want to put that guy in my movie. Thanks, Rob. And that was it. And we've been working together ever since.
Yeah. So you started this before COVID. So how did COVID affect everything? I guess the production.
You know what? It was really strange for me because the way I've been making my living for the last 7 years is touring the country, as you know, as a celebrity guest. So when COVID came, I really didn't want to travel, so I took on a lot of producing jobs, and so I've been producing a lot of films. So doing that kind of helped finish It Wants Blood. You know what I mean?
On kind of a doing the production side for other movies, do you think that's something you're going to continue doing once things start to open up and you can go back to the conventions?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like it. I like to work. I like to stay busy. I'm a workaholic. You know what I mean? I love cinema. I love making movies and watching movies. Movies are always been my life.
Mhm.
So, I love to produce. I love to act in other people's projects. When somebody says, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" If I'm available, I'll say yes. You know what I mean? If I'm too busy, you know, doing other things, I say, oh, thanks for thinking of me, but I can't right now. Keep me in mind for the next one. Because if I can do it, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always have fun when I see you pop up in things.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I started out acting. That's why I made this film company so I could star in these movies because I had always just wanted to be in horror movies, but I didn't know anybody that made them.
Mhm.
So now that I make them, it's nice. People are like, "Hey, you made this movie. Do you want to be in my movie?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm honored. Thanks." That's why I reach out to people, that I like their work.
Yeah.
Same reason. It's a cycle.
Mhm. It's
Time,
weird
it's
that
cyclical.
exactly. You pop up in a lot of local filmmakers to me, and they also pop up in your film. What's your connection to like filmmakers in Boston?
Um, I used to do a convention called Rock and Shock, and I made a
Right.
lot of friends in Boston over the years. And so that's how I ended up in some of, you know, those films, like Groundhog.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Groundhog.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Hmm. It was good to see Hawk in your movie. He's like blown up. He's
He
flying to
is.
Romania to do movies.
He's great. He's great. He told me he's going to come out to LA. He said, "Let's get lunch." I said, "Let's do it." He's a fun guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big
Just
fan.
like a mushroom.
The Mushroom.
I said he's a fun guy.
Oh, I see. That one went over my head. I feel
That's all right.
really dumb now.
Usually mushrooms are below, because they grow out of the ground.
I'm very short though.
That's okay.
They're like umbrellas for me. I'm like, oh, here's some shade. I can go sit under this mushroom.
Yeah, Neil the Gnome. That'll be our next movie.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But about the conventions, like a lot of us think, oh, it's too bad we can't go, we can't have fun. But it is the source of income for a lot of people I know. A lot of veteran actors, and that they might have started movies back in the day, and now that's how they make the living. And a lot of vendors that I become friends with, and they make most of their money doing that. So it's it's a huge loss for a lot of people. Besides just going out and having a good time.
It's crazy. Yeah, it really is. This totally affected everything, and I miss my convention family because from touring the country for 7 years, I had like a wolf pack. You know what I mean? The same people that I would see on a monthly basis, and now I don't see those people. It saddens me. They're friends, they're family. You know what I mean? I've partied with them. I've traveled so many cool places and made wrecks of bars across the country. You know what I mean? So it is sad. So I've been lucky to be able to continue to work, and I'm not going to say it's not a hustle, because it is. So
yeah, and every once in a while you get an annoying guy who just goes over and stands in front of your table, and while he's
that is the worst, when you're trying to hustle and then you got a looky-loo. You got to kick them in the butt sometimes and say, "Get out of here, Neil," or whatever the guy's name is.
Right.
Yeah,
the mushroom over there you can go hide under.
That's right.
So Eric Roberts is in the movie, and he's a big part of the movie. Again, this is not a knock on your other films. A lot of times you have a bunch of cool people in, and it's basically cameos, but Eric Roberts is a big part of the movie.
He stars in it. Eric Roberts. We did 4 days with him. So this movie for me was kind of the cork for all the people that said things like, "Oh yeah, you have this celebrity in your movie, but they're only in it for 2 minutes." You know what I mean? They're only in it for a minute. Like, they don't really count as being in your movie. And that's something that always frustrated me, because I like those quick cameos. It's not about, a lot of Rodney Dangerfield films did that. It's not about having one star. It's about a collection of all these people that you brought in. But I listen to the viewer, just like a lot of other major film companies, and say, okay, you want a star to be in the whole movie? Done. Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Also, Amy, Lita,
I was going to mention her.
is in just about the whole film.
Yeah. She has a great scene with you.
She does. Thanks. Tell me more.
But I was always a fan of Lita. I've had her on my wrestling podcast. She's very cool. And
She is cool.
How did that come about? Her getting Lita involved, Amy Dumas.
I know her manager from doing conventions, and I said to Gilbert, "I want Lita," and he said, "All right, let's make it happen," and we did.
I think she's a horror movie fan.
She is, and she told me her boyfriend's a big cinephile. He was excited that Steve Railsback was in the movie, and that was part of the reason why she, took on the role. So it was great. I've been a Lita fan since I was, a wrestling fan, which is forever. So she's wonderful.
Yeah. So how about Eric Roberts? How did he get involved?
Similar. I know Eric from doing conventions. And his manager, Tim Beal, and we've done a few projects together, and
I've known Tim for a long time too. He's a lot of guests been set up, since the beginning of the show.
Yeah, Tim's another guy. He's been around a long time, and so Tim and we've worked together before, and he made it happen. So
Eric looks like he's having a lot of fun in the movie.
He is a blast. He always has fun wherever he goes. I've done a few pictures with Eric, and he's always a laugh.
I love the opening scene with him. That's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. That and some of the monster fights. But was that filmed in Africa before COVID?
Yeah, we flew out to the backyard Africa, which is Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think it's where they filmed the old Kamala vignette.
Totally. That is exactly where we went.
People talk about the monsters, but I really like a lot of the get up on the African gentleman.
Oh, thanks. April
Mask.
Garcia did the makeup for that. And if you look really close, I had an alligator belt that is the headband piece to one of the witch doctors. And then the buckle from that belt is on the pith hat to Thomas Churchill's explorer hat. That center, that's that's my alligator belt.
That's very cool. I like it. Now, I don't want to spoil the movie, but I just like that whole scene.
Oh, sure.
We need blood of someone you love, and it's just like, take he's my favorite son, take him, and just kind of pushes him in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun scene, and a really interesting moment about that scene is that turned the entire dynamic of the film. So when I set out to make It Wants Blood, it was supposed to be a David Cronenberg-esque kind of serious horror movie. So I don't know if you noticed the tone where he's wearing the robe and they have some of the chanting members, but that was the first day that we filmed with Eric Roberts.
Okay.
And all that is played kind of straight and serious, you know what I mean? And it helps accent the film later and where it is. But when we filmed that scene with the witch doctors and the severed head, I told Eric to play it straight, and he told me no. He said, these guys look, they look silly. They look ridiculous. If I play it straight, it's not going to be taken seriously. People are going to think it's a cheese ball kind of thing. So I'm going to play it up and kiss the head. And, I come from trauma. So I not that I try to escape from trauma because it's in my blood, you know what I mean? But I definitely wanted to do something with a little more tact, you know what I mean? Like a little classier horror picture, which is always like a weird thing, you know what I mean? But Eric Roberts, in that moment, it was like, okay, that's it. I went into my regular James Balsamo character telling puns throughout the film. And that was all because of that one day. That was the second day of filming. And when Eric was like, nah, I'm not doing it straight, I'm going to goof it up, I was like, okay, we're making a silly monster movie. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what are you going to do? The guy's been acting longer than I've been alive. You know what I mean?
Right,
so for me, when I work with experienced actors, I tend to listen to them. One, I mean, if you've ever heard that William Shatner discretion where somebody was trying to tell him how to act and he didn't like it, things can go south. You know what I mean? I try to play it like a cool cucumber. So I'm like, all right, let's try it your way.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, the kissing the head moment, it's funny, right? It all reads. You said it's one of your favorite scenes. So there you go. It was meant to be a silly movie. I'm a silly guy. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Now that you mention it, yeah, because the end scene when he's given kind of like the speech there before everyone starts chanting, it does have a different vibe, but it works with the movie.
It does. Like watching the raw footage of that, like it's very, you're like, oh, this is serious. You know what I mean? Like, and then the chanters come out and it's got a very creepy moment, but now it's a fun monster movie. What are you going to do?
Yeah. So you started filming before COVID. So how long did it take to finish the movie?
So the shooting schedule is probably 8 days in total of filming, but those days are spread out because at the time I was also producing Hanukkah, Sid Haig's last movie, directed by
That's why I was wearing my Sid Haig shirt. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
You can't quite
so that first day I had filmed with Eric Roberts, I had filmed Dick Miller as the director of photography on that film like 3 days later. So, and then Hanukkah's been out for a year already. So, you know, it
That was
was
the last
spread
time I
out.
saw you was at the Hanukkah premiere.
I know. I was surprised to
Oh no,
see
I
that.
guess I saw you then again after that in February, but nonetheless, yeah,
And you're seeing me right now.
exactly, exactly.
So, they were spaced out. Like I said, I take on a lot of things, and then I jumble them. I'm like, spin the wheel. All right, what am I filming this week?
That was the Hanukkah. Was that Dick Miller's last movie too?
It was, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's too
He
bad.
was great. He was great to work with, and he was somebody that I had always wanted to work with. So I was honored that Evan asked me to shoot his stuff, and I helped with the wardrobe, and it was nice. It was great.
Eben's also in the movie, and it was
Evan is also in the movie, and Evan brought Felissa Rose to set. So that's how Felissa's in the movie.
yeah. I mentioned this to Eben. He wasn't aware he's in the movie.
He,
He's just messing with me. But I was happy to see Eben. I think Eben's a good actor. He probably doesn't, but I think he's a good actor.
he's a great actor. He's been acting for years. He's in the movie Rockstar, and he's in a ton of other stuff. I believe he's in Escape from L.A.
He
also.
is? I didn't
He's
know that actually.
Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff, and he's a great actor and a great friend. And I was lucky enough to see him a few weeks ago. We went out to lunch. It was nice. So it
Oh,
was
good.
nice to see humans again now that things are starting to open back up.
Yeah, I went back to the I hadn't been to conventions for a couple of years, and then I saw him at the last one, and then everything closed, so I couldn't get. I was planning on continually going to the conventions again, but
Yeah, well, I'm sure things will start to open up again
yeah, yeah,
soon enough.
yeah. And I have my second shot coming up, so I'll be all
Oh, good,
vaccinated.
nice.
Yeah. So you said like you have your start like with trauma. Did you ever actually work with trauma?
Yeah, I was an intern for almost a year. I used to take out Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Herz's trash.
Oh, very very good.
Yeah,
Well, what kind of learning experience is that though?
you know what? It was everything. I got all of it. Um, it it was amazing. You know what I mean? I was working at a comic book store, and we were selling the Toxic Avenger Part Two, and somebody brought it up to the counter, and they go, "Hey, did you know Trauma is like in New York, and they hire people as interns?" And I called them the next day, and then I quit my comic book job, and I was traveling from Long Island to Queens to hang out at Trauma all day.
And you talked earlier about hustling, and getting your name out there, being out there with the people and stuff. Is that something you also pick up from someone like Lloyd? Because maybe that might be something people don't necessarily look at when they're like, I'm going to make movies.
Yeah, I mean, I totally modeled a lot of stuff after Lloyd, and a lot of my love for cinema that's like that, exploitation cinema, and I was lucky enough to like literally be gifted, you know what I mean, cameos from Lloyd in my first film at 19. So while I was interning there, I said, "Oh, I watch so many movies, right? When you're a free paid unpaid intern, they pay you in these DVD shakers, right? If the DVD is loose in the case, they call it a shaker. So they
Oh,
go, you could go through this box. And I had worked there so long, I had seen almost every film that Troma had put out. And after watching, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 of them, I said, I could do this. There is nothing that these people are doing that I can't do. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I was 19. I said, I'm going to make a movie. And so I said to Lloyd, hey, would you do a cameo in my movie? And he said, he had some other person that was working there tell me if I dressed up as the Toxic Avenger at his Barnes and Noble book signing, that he'd do a cameo for me for that trade. And that was it. And so I got Lloyd, and then I got Debbie Rochon, who was also working there. I was in a little bit better shape then at the time, and Debbie, had done some amazing movies like late night cinema things that I had seen on Cinemax. And I was like, wow, Debbie Rochon is here. I'm making a movie. Debbie, would you like to be in it? And she was like, yeah, okay. So I got Debbie Rochon and Lloyd Kaufman to do a cameo in my first movie at 19. And then that was it. I took off running.
Mm-hmm. Did you now you make your own movie and they're in it, but did you like actually work with them as far as like did you have your movie released by Troma or anything on that?
I in COVID I did a short film for Rob Mulligan called Mulligan's Monsters, and that's on Troma now. And that is the only official short film that's ever been released from Troma.
Yeah, interesting.
So yes, technically I have worked with Troma, and I've done some promos for them as the Toxic Avenger in like 6 DVD intros.
Yeah, I see. I did not know that you were once the Toxic Avenger, or several.
Not once, 6 times. If you ever see the furry forearm Toxie, it's me.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. That's my favorite Toxic Avenger.
I mean, there's some good ones in that.
Yeah. So, It Wants Blood. Do you think we will do any drive-ins?
Yeah, I do actually. I've already been greenlit for the sequel, so It Wants Blood 2 is in the works. And we've been coming up, Alaric Barca and I have been coming up with some new, weird, cryptic zoology kind of monsters, you know what I mean? And then, Bill Victor Arukin is the producer on that, and we've been talking about doing a kaiju farm. And so there'll be a whole bunch of different monsters.
The monsters in this, because you have the claymation, so they're smaller, but then you also have the full-size ones when they're interacting with people. Just like the size of those, where do you keep them? Is that ever a problem?
Well, if you look right here on my wall, you'll see the Doto.
That's pretty. That is pretty awesome.
There.
Not pretty awesome. That is a straight up awesome.
Straight up awesome.
Right.
That's my my whole office is covered with creatures, and there's a whole bunch on the keyboard there.
Yeah. Now, did you see that before it was finished? I'm just wondering, like, when you first see that, completely finished, what goes through your mind?
I was blown away. I mean, Joe Castro was so wonderful, and he showed me every step of the way to make sure that I was happy. You know what I mean? He said, here's the sculpt. Do you like the sculpt? Is it the right size? So, and then I was getting video updates every few days. It was like, here it is in foam, and this is how it's going to move. And it was wonderful, really.
And something about Joe, which comes through in his work. He always seems like he just loves what he does. He loves monsters.
He's passionate, and he's a great filmmaker on his own accord. You know what I mean? Joe's done so many movies, and he's currently sculpting some alien creatures for me for Alien Danger too. So, I love working with Joe.
I've seen for the first one, just, pictures on your Facebook, and it looks like a lot of fun. It's very, just cool, suits and very colorful, and everyone looks like they're having a good time.
Thanks. Yeah, everybody is having a great time. And then, the Toy Dolls just put out a music video of the theme song, Alien Danger, with Raven Van Slender. So type in Toy Dolls Alien Danger, you'll see a fun music video.
Yeah, I'll post it up on the website.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. But Joe Castro, have you ever been in any of his stuff? Any of his movies?
No, not yet. Not yet. I hope to someday. I do like to act, and then hopefully Joe will act in one of mine coming up. So he did some of the puppet work and the creature stuff, and he did second unit directing because obviously I had to interact with some of the creatures. Right. So, it was a great honor.
Because something he's brought up to me is sometimes people don't know how to, like, he'll make something, and he says sometimes people don't know how to actually shoot it, so it looks great. Was he helpful in that, like trying to tell you how to shoot the monsters?
He was, Tom Savini says that a lot, you know what I mean? And I heard that, and I've been shooting effects and creature stuff for a long time, so Joe and I are pretty much on the same page, which was beautiful. Like when we were filming some of the creature stuff, it was so simpatico. You know what I mean? Like we were riding horses on the dusty plains to like make this movie as awesome as it could be together. You know what I mean? Which I thought was amazing. It was one of the best filming experience I honestly ever had. You know what I mean? I was like doing creature effects and surrounded by people that were on the same page. It was really a wonderful moment. So I really do enjoy working with Joe. He's a great guy.
Did you hurt yourself in the voodoo doll scene?
I didn't. I actually hurt myself more when I tripped over one of the corpses, and then I see the baby. So that I actually almost broke my finger.
I like if someone just hears that part. They don't know the movie. Like, oh,
Yeah. No,
over
no
the corpse,
spoilers.
saw the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That old thing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was you know what I mean. I try to play it as safe, but you know what are you gonna do? You do like
Well, if
little
you're gonna
stuff.
hurt anybody, you might as well hurt yourself, because then
Exactly.
you can't.
Exactly.
No one's gonna get mad at you.
Right. Exactly.
You're expendable. No.
Right.
I like the wrestling scene. I think one of my favorite lines in the movie, you just yell at the wrestling scene, drop kicker in the butthole, which I think is a very memorable line.
Yeah. Thanks. One of my wacky ad libs.
All right. That wasn't scripted out.
That was not in the script.
I might have asked this before, but what does like a script for a typical movie of yours look like? Because I think there's a lot of ad libbing and kind of stuff.
There is. It's weird because a lot of the script is usually in my mind. You know what I mean? Because this is the first film that I didn't edit. Caleb Emerson, who edited Tosh Point oh for a decade, cut this movie, and Caleb's been in a bunch of my films, and he's in this one. He's the cryptic zoologist guy who I asked him for the cigarette. That's Caleb. What was the question? I got lost on a tangent talking about how great Caleb is.
I don't remember now, but
fair enough.
I'm sure it wasn't anything important, but about your script. What a script.
Yeah. So you know what? I used to write full scripts, and from doing these kinds of independent horror movies, when you work with some actors, they don't read the whole script. They just want to know their part or what they're doing. So I've kind of broken it down into sides and daily shoots for actors that really need set dialogue, and then I feed everybody their lines. So I know I do things a lot different than other people, but I say, listen, I've produced over 30 feature films. Just trust me, okay? I have a method to my madness, because some people that have worked with me for the first time, they're like, what do you mean there's no full script? I want to know where the story is. And I'm like, don't worry about it, okay? I know the story. I'm cutting this thing. Don't worry about it. Just show up and I'll tell you what to say. So that's usually the way I do things now, because it was frustrating, like writing a whole script and people lose all the little subtle nuances, or hiring actors that are day players and they're like, just tell me what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So what was someone else cutting your film? What's that experience like since the first one? You
know what? It was really wonderful, to be honest, because editing is so consuming. And Caleb is such an amazing editor. You know what I mean? He's done his own films. He understands the 180 rule and, how to put something in. So I sat in with him 2 or 3 times and I just said, move this over here. And he really did the whole thing. I just kind of pointed him in the right direction with just a few spots. And I can't tell you what it almost feels like I feel guilty. You know what I mean? I didn't cut this movie, but it came out just the way I wanted it to. It makes me think, oh, maybe I should have Caleb edit some more movies.
Right. I know, just from little things I've done, or even just the shows, editing to me is my least favorite part. There's not really any fun for it.
It's work. It's a grueling process, but it is such an important part. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because a certain cut or a choice makes such a difference to the viewer. You know what I mean? If they look down
That
or if
really,
they look up,
puts together the movie, can make it a completely different thing.
it's true. You could cut it 6 different ways and it'll be 6 different films. You know what I mean? So I was lucky enough to work with Caleb, and he knows what I like because he also comes from a trauma background. You know what I mean? So he understands horror, he understands exploitation, and he cut that whole wrestling scene. I didn't even touch it. That was all him. That wrestling scene is beautiful, and Caleb, thank you for that because it's wonderful.
Was he responsible for the sound effect? Another one of my favorite parts, when she stomps in her hoo-ha. It's kind of like this really.
I told him that note, but he picked the sound. In all fairness, I said, "Can you put a doorbell or some kind of something?" And he found just the perfect noise.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
A lot of nudity in the movie.
a lot of nudity. So nudity is not anything that I'm new to. I've had nudity in a lot of my films, but this one I think we went all out with a lot of full nude. So, we're living in a time where your next door neighbor is on OnlyFans, right? And they're like,
Mhm.
hey, look at me topless. So I kind of wanted to up the notch a little bit for cinema. You know what I mean? Back to 70s exploitation where that was kind of, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
gamut, you know what I mean? You were running that, oh, full bush. All right, let's play.
Mhm. Yeah, if you use promo code Nasty Neil, you can save 10% off my OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm a member.
Yeah, it's a different kind of mushroom going on.
I'm the only fan.
Yes, I don't think you paid for a little while, but so you got the one thing on the wall, and you had the can I see the puppet again? Because I think I know it's like kind of like I don't say simple effect, but it's great. There's also something to me anytime you have practical things, there's just it's just fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a hand puppet, but it really gets the job done. There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Will he be in the sequel, or will it'll be all new monsters?
Well, the No Doto will definitely be back for the sequel. So yeah.
Do you have? I know you're wearing the Catch of the Day shirt. Do you have shirts for It Wants Blood?
Yeah, Killer Waves. Yeah, I do. You could get them at acidbathproductions.com along with some of my other fun stuff. I got hot sauce and joke books, and movies.
Yeah, put them all together. Put some hot sauce on your movie. And...
Yeah, or your book. Oh, it burns when I read.
That's what. Yeah, you can have your own acid bath.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, I put that together. I guess that acid bath, hot sauce, it all works.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Look at you.
But I have a Killway shirt too. I could not find it for tonight. But
oh, that's all right.
I have many shirts, but I actually I have cool pictures with it. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I always like all your merchandise. I think that's another thing that people overlook sometimes.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you know what? I just kind of go after what I like. You know what I mean? I'm a t-shirt guy. That's like what I buy. I buy t-shirts, so I try to make fun, cool t-shirts.
Yeah. You have any acid bath tattoos?
Me? No, I don't have any tattoos. I'm too furry.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't either.
we're a rare breed, you know?
It is weird because I think it's almost like you stand out more now. You're like more odd if you don't have tattoos, or I don't have any piercings either. So
true. Oh, I used to have my ears pierced. You can still see the little nubbin.
all right.
There. So
you're just too cool.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's very true. Eileen Dietz is in the movie. Another person I'm friendly with. She's always fun to see in movies.
She's lovely. Yes. Eileen Dietz is wonderful. You might know her as Pazuzu from The Exorcist. Also did a lot of the stunt work on that movie. And she's in a movie with Steve Railsback. You might have heard of it, Helter Skelter, where Steve plays the late Charles Manson. So it was cool to have them both in the picture, you know.
Yeah. So did you shave? So the scene where you're shaved. Now, did you do that out? Like, did that mess up your movie at all? Like, I shaved now, it's gonna
I
throw off
don't
the
think
movie a
it.
little bit.
I don't think it messed it up. I think it helped
It's weeks
sell
later, so it's
something.
fine. But yeah,
Right, exactly. I play my twin brother, Martin Blunt. Um, so I'm trying not to throw my girlfriend under the bus. My girlfriend hates my goatee, and I'm like,
oh,
this is my staple look. I like this look. I've had it. So in the midst of us dating, she was like, I hate that thing. And I'm like, all right, I'll shave it. And then I was like, oh no, I have to film with Steve Railsback. This is gonna affect the movie. I'll deal with that later. So that is how I became my twin brother.
all right, will work because there's also a great scene that is perfect for the name without your head. I won't give too much away, but that probably
Yeah.
gives away some. But.
So crazy story about Steve Railsback. He was supposed to film, and I get a phone call that he broke his hip. And I was like, oh, come on. If you didn't want to do the movie, you should have just said, hey, don't be in the movie. But I rented this camera, and you know what I mean? Like, you should have, you know what I mean? Just let me know. It's not a problem. Just let me know. But unfortunately, Steve Railsback really broke his hip. So, like, he was getting out of a car and he fell. And that is part of the reason that set the movie back. Because I was like, Steve Railsback said he was going to be in this movie. I can't not put Steve Railsback in the movie. So I had to wait, I think it was 6 or 7 months until he was able to walk. You know what I mean? So I was honored that he still wanted to do it. And but that was part of the reason why the movie got set back too. But it's done now. It's funny how time works, right? The all that time has passed, but it doesn't matter because you could watch it right now.
Right now in Vimeo, it's like magic.
It is. What are you waiting for? Go watch it.
One last thing I want to ask was it's dedicated to Carmine Capobianco. What's the relationship there?
So Carmine Capobianco is a brilliant actor. He was in Psychos in Love and Galactic Gigolo. And Carmen was in my second feature film, as well as several others, where he played the lead detective in I Spill Your Guts. And Carmen and I became really good friends. And honestly, he's family, you know. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer in January. And I was heartbroken. You know what I mean? I really love Carmen, and it breaks my heart. So that is the first dedication I've ever done in a film. And, you know, Carmen, like I said, was such a big movie fan. I thought he would appreciate it. And that's honestly why I did it.
That's very nice. It's a shame that he passed away.
It's heartbreaking. He's young, too young to go. I still can't believe it. It's one of those things like you got to savor every moment.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I talk about this all the time, but 5 years ago, I get really sick, and it gave me a different outlook on everything because you don't know. How long you'll be here, or how long anyone else around you will be here. So
it's true.
And I also want to know, since Eric Roberts said no, I'm not going to play this straight, and it changed the vibe of the movie. Do you have in the future a serious horror movie in James Balsamo?
You know what? I'm sure I do. I'm currently in production for like 3 or 4 other silly ones. 14 Ghosts, which has James Lorenz and Bob Elmore, who played Leatherface.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Bob Elmore. Yeah.
So that one's a silly one. And then Hollywood Werewolf with Andy Dick, obviously silly. So and then Killer Waves 2, also kind of silly. You know what I mean? The killer tells puns like Spear Today, Gone Tomorrow. And that's got Marky Ramone from the Ramones in it. And so all those are kind of silly. And then, of course, Alien Danger, also a kids movie, my first kids movie, 1 and 2, both silly.
Also, So that's going to be like what, like PG-13 or PG movie?
I'm gonna submit it to the MPAA, and we're looking for a PG rating. That's the goal. So it's a wholesome family film. Because you know what, I've met so many lovely people over the years at conventions that have begged me to make a movie that they could watch with their kids. You know what I mean? So this is
I could see that totally working, because I mean that's a lot of your personality. You know, you just take out. I mean, you just take out the nudity and stuff, and you know.
That's all we really did. You know what I mean? It's the same mindset, the same wackiness. It's just for kids.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
No, that and I'm a kid at heart, so
Yeah,
some would
and
say
I have a kid's heart in a jar.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that going to make the movie?
it is. Yeah, Kalima.
Like this is not for my children. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, who did you think this was made by?
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all this stuff that's coming up.
Thanks, man. And thanks for watching the new movie.
Yeah, of course.
Why don't you tell the lovely people how wonderful it is and go watch it?
Yes, we've been talking about it. It's It Wants Blood. It's a lot of fun. A lot of cool people in it. It looks very good. The monsters are great. And you get a variety of monsters. You get some really cool claymation scenes. There's a really good fight scene, honestly, between the two monsters. And then you also get some big giant monsters interacting with people.
Yeah, check it out. It Wants Blood.
And you get James Balsamo yelling "drop kick her in the butthole."
That's true. You do get that.
If I ever would rate movies, I would use that as a rating. Drop kick her in the butthole.
Yeah.
I wouldn't explain even if it was good or bad. I just like drop kick her in the butthole.
Yeah, I gotta see that. Drop kick her in the butthole. That sounds good.
Exactly. All right. Well, it's always fun to talk with you.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for taking.
We will do this again in the future.
Definitely.
And I will see you. I know we're not seeing you now, but I'll see you in person at some point.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. It's a threat.
I like it.
All right. Well, have a good day. Good night.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye. Oh, Sherry Davis says hello. Hello, Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Davis is also in the movie, and she is wonderful in the film. She's also in Alien Danger 1 and 2.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I hope to be. I don't have to be a gnome, but in the future here, hopefully I'll be in another Balsamo film.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Now we'll let you go.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.